Rob and Slim Show.
Hey guys, it's Zach Avery.
Hey, Zach Avery, actor in California. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
We're doing good despite this stupid year. This has been one of the worst things I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Seriously, it has been definitely a year to remember, I guess. But
Yeah,
it's pretty rough out there.
I mean that wave of murder hornets was really tough.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't get
Enough
the
murder hornets.
Could have did more.
Hopefully that was just a teaser, and like when everything calms down, then there's just like
Then there's gonna be
like
swarms.
so many murder hornets.
Exactly. It's just like one thing after another. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like one thing can't even go away until the other thing is right in our faces. But the only
I
thing,
know, and the fact that it's June is like we got a whole another half of the year. So hopefully it's all rainbows from here.
That's what I was gonna say. I hope 2021 is just like rainbows and unicorns. And
that's it. We need unicorns. The only glimpse of hope I can see from what's happening now is just a reform of the systems in place. Like that's what needs to be.
Totally. I totally agree that hopefully it puts some sort of microscope or magnifying glass on the issues at hand, and we make some changes and moving towards the right direction, and that's all we can hope for.
Yeah, and hopefully get that one guy out of here, whatever he is, in his bunker or in front of his church or whatever he's doing. The orange guy. Let's get rid of the Kool-Aid man.
Seriously. Well, yeah, immediately. Let's definitely go vote and push towards that as well.
If it's not crystal clear, he's not good for anything.
I don't understand how he's not impeached by now.
Impeached or in prison.
Or in prison.
Like
one of those.
What a psycho.
It's crazy. It really is crazy. I mean, like, anytime I hear or talk to someone who's still kind of in that camp, I'm just baffled. I really don't understand it.
No, me neither. Like, how as a person can you have a little bit for that side, like that camp? Yeah, no. That camp should be, just tape it off. Just tape it off. Don't ever send your kids to that camp. That camp is shut down. Shut down. Zach, but last time we had you on, it was, I think, when The White Crow came out. What have you done since?
All right. So since The White Crow came out, I've shot a few films, which has been fun before all the quarantine happened. And then I just had a film last week or the week before come out called Last Moment of Clarity, which was a really cool thriller. Came out on iTunes and Amazon. So
it looked really cool.
Exciting news and the damp atmosphere we found ourselves in.
Yeah, no, it looked really cool, and I wanted to ask if it was released on just to like VOD or how it was released, but it is after, what was it, 3 years after witnessing the murder of his fiance, a man finds himself at a theater and sees an actress who is pretty much his dead fiance, and he has to figure out what really happened, right?
Exactly. So yeah, there's kind of like this, Hitchcockian thing that the directors Colin and James Kreisel were trying to do, and I think succeeded pretty well. And that you're watching this kind of love story play out that turns into a thriller where he witnesses the murder of his fiance, he flees to Paris to kind of start his life over and mourn and get away from any danger. And he does. He finds himself in this theater, and he sees a woman that really eerily looks like her. And he convinces himself that it is and goes on this hunt to figure out, is it her? What ended up happening if it is her? And as an audience, you're watching it not really knowing, is he crazy? Is he on to something here? And you're watching this whole kind of crazy story lay out in front of you, and it's pretty cool.
Wow. And you play Sam. Is that the man?
Yep. So I play Sam, who's essentially a protagonist. So I'm the guy who has to take you through this crazy journey. So it was definitely fun to play just because he had so many layers, so much going on, and it was fun to dive into that character.
What was one of the most challenging parts of playing Sam?
I think the hardest part was really trying to ground myself as an actor in this kind of unbelievable setting of, you're in Paris, which we actually shot there, so that helps a little bit, but you're in Paris and you're just totally confused and lost in life, but then there's this glimmer of hope that you're seeing your fiance, but the person that you saw getting killed, being able to like portray that in a believable way was something you had to really, or I had to really dive deep and try to figure out, where is this guy's mindset at, because it can be construed as just you're watching a crazy person, which you don't want to show, so adding those layers in there was really, hard to do, but fun to play as well.
Oh, cool. And was it a very physical role? Because it did look like it may have been a physically demanding role.
Definitely. It was one of those that there were obviously more quiet, serene scenes where he's just by himself. But then as all of the thriller, quote unquote, aspects start to play out, I mean, he's fighting people, he's running around, he's chasing cars. It's a little action as well. So that was a cool part.
Very cool. Very cool. And what was one of your favorite parts of filming that movie?
I mean, I think it was shooting in the locations we got to shoot in. It's not very often that they call you and say, especially on independent film, that, hey, you're going to go to Paris and you're going to shoot there and ride your bike around Paris for a few days, and we're going to shoot you in bars and all these different, like, amazing locations. Then we're going to go to Virginia and shoot there, and then we're going to go to L.A. and shoot exteriors in L.A. as well. So it was just really cool to be able to physically be in these environments, and that as you're seeing them on screen, it's awesome as the actor to be able to play and be really there, because it just really grounds you in that environment as opposed to kind of having to pretend you're somewhere when you're actually on a soundstage or somewhere else.
Yeah, I can only imagine that's exactly how it is. And after doing a project like that, do you almost have to like I don't know, go back into regular life? Like after filming that for I don't know how many months, like when you come home, do you almost have to like decompress? And
oh yeah, it was a tough one, specifically on this, because weirdly enough, I had my son Jax was born basically right 2 weeks before we started shooting this. So he was born in my personal life outside of acting. I was in this kind of like, holy shit, new dad crazy moment, and then I had to dive into this insane script for, like you said, 2.5 months of chasing this love interest and trying to figure out if I'm crazy or not, and then come home to be dad again. It definitely took a little decompression and yes, kind of planting my feet in reality again.
Some meditation, just whatever.
Yeah. I feel like it would just be a whole, you got to be reintroduced to everything. Like
therapy.
Wow. And congratulations. So I was just saying, I think like last week, sometimes I just think like, what world did I bring my kids into? I have 3 sons. And man, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, yeah, what did I introduce you guys to? Like, goddamn.
Yeah, it really is wild. And it's kind of like, I guess from my perspective, I'm just trying to, he's still young. He's only 2.5 or so. I'm trying to instill in him just kind of that, be good, follow the right path, and, don't kind of get too stressed out by the fact that you can't go to parks and do this and do that now, and try to explain to him what's going on. And it's tough, though. I mean, it definitely is hard and makes you as a parent really kind of take a step back and be like, what's important and what lessons do I want to teach my son or daughter as they're growing up.
Yeah, my middle son was supposed to start sports this summer, and I'm just so bummed out for him that he can't, like, at the moment.
Yeah, it sucks. Obviously mine's super young, but I imagine that for older kids, just sports and not being able to see friends and potentially not going through graduation and all of the things that we had when we were younger, you just, get kind of stripped away and you're stuck in the house or wherever, bunkered up. So
even the stupid prom,
it's a weird time we find ourselves in.
Yeah, even if you don't care about your prom or whatever, you're still entitled to it, and it's still something that you've worked how many years on to get to. Your prom weekend, your graduation, like it just stinks.
For sure, and it's as we all know, even if we don't want to do something, we don't want to be told that we can't do it.
Yes.
So it's that juxtaposition between like, well, now that I can't do it, I want to go to prom.
I want to.
I was just going to stay home and play video games, but now they're telling me I
can't. Exactly.
Do you have any other projects, Zach, that were put on hold before the pandemic?
Yeah, so I shot a film called Gateway last year, at the end of last year. That was with Olivia Munn, Frank Grillo, Shea Wiggum. So that was a really cool thing that was going to be coming out kind of around this time, beginning of summer. So I'm not sure when that will come out. I'm assuming end of this year, and we'll see what happens with that. And then I was in full prep for a film that I was going to shoot in Spain end of March that is just kind of waiting now. They obviously told us that, hey, we're going to push a week. Oh, we're going to push 2 weeks. Now we just kind of don't really know. And so we're all just kind of waiting to see what happens. But it's an interesting time on the work front because no one knows the answer, so we'll see when and if that ever starts up again.
Yeah. Oh. I saw too, Zach. I saw you as a kid. You moved all over the place. You were in Berkeley, California, and Tampa, Florida, Fort Wayne, Indiana. What was your favorite place growing up?
It's weird because when I think back at all the different places, they were all such specific parts of my life. So when I think of Tampa, it was really like the childhood, quote unquote, all through elementary school, great childhood friends. And then I moved when I was a freshman in high school. So then I had that high school and college experience in Indiana. So obviously that's a very memorable time too. So, I have probably the fondest memories of being in the Midwest, being in Indiana and Chicago right after that. But, Florida or Tampa, as weird as it kind of is now, always holds a special place in my heart just because, it's childhood friends, and I made lifelong friends that I still have today there. So I would say cool. Definitely both of those are special.
Yeah, those are definitely awesome times in a life. Like, yeah, definitely have an impact too, like memories.
For sure.
I was going to ask too, I saw you sold books door to door at one point.
Yeah, so I was going to school for psychology, and that was kind of the path. My mom was a lifelong educator. She had always said, like, you have to get an education. You have to get a quote unquote real job before you would do any of this acting, dream chasing stuff. So I was in school for psychology and just hated it. Like, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. I knew that wasn't what I was going to end up doing. So I left school, didn't tell her, and I needed money, though, because now I wasn't in school and didn't get tuition or any of that. So I started selling QuickBooks door to door in, like, the suburbs of Chicago. I mean, like, literally going to independent gas stations and places that were selling cell phones and all of these kind of shady stores, selling QuickBooks software and things of that nature for a couple months, and then raised enough, made enough money, whether that was $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever, to move out to LA, and that's what we did. We basically said, hey, we have something now to put in our pockets. Let's get in the car and drive cross country.
Cool. Did anything ever crazy happen to you when you were doing that?
Crazy, not so much. It's just like strange. Like, you really find because you have to wear a suit, full suit, head to toe, the whole thing, and you're walking outside in winter, which it was for me, in Chicago. So it's sleeting and snow and freezing, and you're just like this. At the time, I was 21, 22-year-old kid wearing a suit, peddling whatever payment processing systems to these people who are like, who is this guy? So, I wouldn't say there was a specific event that was crazy, but every single day was just
you went home every day and were like, what the fuck am I doing?
But I feel like you're perfect. You got your acting chops in there. You wore that suit and you're in the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a time where I look back and I'm like, hey, I never ever want to do that again. But it certainly helped with the improv skills.
Was your mom pissed off when she ended up finding out that you dropped out of school?
Oh yeah, she was so mad. She was furious at the beginning. I mean, I told her probably about a week before we were planning on moving, and I'd been out of school now for a few months, and so I think it was that she was just hurt that I didn't tell her at the beginning and did my own thing. But obviously, once she knew I wasn't going to be starving and homeless on the street out here, she was fine.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you always as a child, you want to not tell them, and then I always feel like there's the longer you wait, the worse it gets. No. The worse it gets.
For sure. I mean, that's the thing, is like you're in that moment, you're like, oh, I can't tell her. She's going to be so mad. She's going to try to convince me otherwise, and all of these stories you make up in your head to rationalize it. But at the end of the day, it's like, the truth is usually always best.
They always end up understanding, or if not at the initial telling, they always come around. They always realize, yeah.
For sure.
But it's also
they come around, or you were wrong and they give you the I told you so. So either way, it works out.
Yes.
Like, and I can understand how hard that would be because, your parents spend your entire life growing up. Like, you're going to go to college and you're going to be successful and you're going to do this. And it's like, oh, I got to tell them that's not going to happen.
I had to tell mine that I got a 0.0, Zach, after a whole semester. Like, that's not a proud moment. That's not a proud moment.
No, definitely not. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I can imagine that now when I'm thinking of parenting and all of these goals you set in your head for your kids, that for me to tell my mom, like, hey, I got into this great school for grad school that you're so happy about and you're paying money for me to be here, and I just decide to quit because I want to be an actor in LA. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's not the easiest game plan, but again, it worked out in the long run.
Zach, what advice would you give to somebody just starting out in acting?
I would say, especially now, because you can do so much with your iPhone, with your friends. You can get yourself on tape in ways that, just wasn't possible in the past. Mm-hmm. I would say that do things yourself. Make sure that you have enough that you can show someone what you can do before you're asking for a job, before you're trying to get an agent, before any of those things. Because there are so many people trying to do the same thing that you are, that you have to stand out somehow. And to take initiative and try to do it yourself is definitely the best advice I would give to somebody just starting out.
Cool. Oh man, yeah. I don't even know, Zach, when we're gonna be able to get back to normal. But I'm ready. I'm ready to never wear a mask again. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't want to breathe my own fumes in anymore. I don't want to sweat. My face gets so gross.
It slowly seems like we're getting away from it because, like, today, Rob and I went to Wawa and, like, you can go on both doors now.
Yeah, about a week ago at the convenience stores out here, they would have one door locked, but today both doors are open. So I feel like
we're getting there slowly. I think they actually gave an official date, at least in Jersey. I think it's like June 20th that they're going to officially like open non-essential businesses, but it's still going to be like you're going to have to wear a mask and it's still going to be probably limited and stuff like that. But
yeah, it is. It's a strange time just because, like you said, like even when you're hearing that things are opening and maybe we'll be, able to go to these restaurants or whatever it may be, there's always, at least for me, this looming kind of thing of, okay, we can go, but there's no vaccine yet. There's no real cure for this. So it's kind of like, what happens when it opens and then it just comes back and we're kind of back to square one? It's just so much unknown.
And that's the thing. It started with one guy. So there could just be one person left with the coronavirus and we open up and that one person spreads it to 1 million people again.
Yeah.
For sure, exactly. I mean, you see all of these protests and everything happening right now, which obviously, I support and it's great. But the coronavirus side of that, I assume there's gonna have some impact there as well. So we'll see, in 3 weeks or a month or whatever, what comes of that too.
What have you? What was the first thing, Zach, when everything started going down that you started hoarding that you couldn't live without?
Oh man, what do I the weird thing there's like G2 Gatorade, like grape, the like less sugar quote unquote Gatorade.
Yes.
I drink this stuff like crazy. I don't even know when I started doing this, but I have a pantry of a whole section of grape Gatorade. So that was the first thing. I remember I went to Target, got a ton of G2 grape Gatorade and took pictures of all the empty shelves and thought the world was ending. And that was it.
Yeah, it felt like the apocalypse. I just started hoarding junk food. Like I work at one of those, essential stores, and I would just start buying whatever junk food I could find, like snack cakes and all that. That was my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you need it. You never know. I mean, I feel like in also those times where it's just at the beginning when no one really knew what was going to happen, it was just like a free-for-all. Like anything you see that you possibly could eat at some point in time, you might as well get because you don't know when you're going to be able to get it again.
I think at the one store I saw pasta and like sauces for like a month straight were just hard to find. Yeah.
Ramen noodle was impossible to come by.
Yeah. And just even when you find it, like you said, if you want that comfort food, it's comfort. It's comfort right there. Like get it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I remember ice cream. Like all of the ice cream was gone. I was like, wow. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You put it in the freezer, you can keep it for a while.
Yeah.
But I was surprised.
box pizzas. Box pizzas were like
Frozen
impossible to
pizzas.
get.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. True.
One of my friends in
At
LA.
least we know now the important things.
I'm sorry, Zach. What's that?
I was going to say, at least we know now the important things to people.
Yes, yes.
Pasta, ramen noodles, pizza, and ice cream.
As a salesman in retail business, it's amazing because now you know what to display. Like you know
what to
people
order
want.
extra. Well, my one
That
buddy.
is for sure.
My one buddy posted a video where he was in a store and they didn't have any Dr. Scholl's insoles. I don't know why. I don't know why. Wherever he was,
A lot of walking.
a lot of comfort shoes.
It's one of those things. People just see things and they're like, "Oh, I might as well get this because who knows when I'll be able to go back."
Oh, dude, there's still some stuff like you can't find Lysol wipes. That's one thing that we just haven't seen around.
I still think like my store sold out of like puzzles, and I'm like,
Yes.
who even does puzzles anymore?
Jigsaw puzzles. Jigsaw puzzles.
The power isn't going out, guys. We're just.
I know. Exactly. And you see everyone like posting pictures of doing puzzles and this and that. And it's like, okay.
Who came up with that? Like, yo, you gotta do a puzzle.
Check out my puzzle skills, bro.
It's the only thing you can do during the pandemic.
Yep. No, it's true. It's funny.
Zach, it's been a pleasure talking to you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Of course, guys. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate the time.
I appreciate you. Where can everybody find you?
Instagram and Twitter is just Zach Avery, ZACHAVERY, and that's it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We will definitely, when this interview and show goes up, I will email all the links.
Fantastic. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, brother.
All right, you too.
Stay safe.
Take care, Zach.